say you're the elite, say you're the bourgeoisie, say that recently one of your own got assassinated and you are coordinating kind of like media and legal campaign to thoroughly punish the person who assassinated one of your own, scare other people out of doing it again, right? I've got an idea. I'm pitching this to you. Let me know if this sounds good. What if we made him look insanely hard? I'm just pitching that there. What if we took the hardest picture of all time? What if we album covered him? Will that make people like him less? I'm asking sincerely. See, this is why you work out. It's not even so you have abs. Abs, man. You work out so that when you get arrested, you fill out the shoulders of your oversized prison uniform. Okay? Look at that. Yeah, so they are really throwing the book at him. They have, in addition to murder one, they are putting state terrorism charges against Luigi Manion, which is surprising, not necessarily because that it's an overcharge. I think you could fairly argue that it's an overcharge, but I think you could also say, they're probably going to get him on it, assuming they're able to prove their case. I don't know how fair of a trial this is going to be. We don't even know for sure if he did it or not. The evidence that we have is largely circumstantial. However, it seems odd to me that they would go with the terrorism charge because that makes the ideology and motive behind the shooting a part of the court deliberation. If it was just murder one and they proved he did it, it's okay, he did the killing. Okay, there's the prints, whatever. They throw terrorism charges. Now you're talking about the ideology. All I'm saying is that I think it'll be great content, okay? Give me televised trials of him going to the stand and explaining exactly why he did it, we'll see how it goes. They are throwing the book at him. Not only are they throwing terrorism charges at him, in a surprise move, they brought his ass over to a federal courthouse. They're pressing federal charges too, probably because they want to kill him. Manion, who is already facing state charges for the brazen attack on Thompson, thank you USA Today for your narrativization, I appreciate it, appeared in a federal courthouse on Thursday in a move that appeared to shock the defense team. Instead of appearing in the New York County Supreme Court for an arraignment on Thursday, Manion was whisked into a federal courthouse after his extradition from Pennsylvania. In over 3 decades of prosecuting and defending criminal cases here in New York, frankly, I've never seen anything like what is happening here, Manion's attorney, Karen Friedman Agnifilo, said in federal court. She said she thought even state prosecutors were surprised by the move. And then they threw a bunch of federal charges at him. Is it a good idea to kill him? They look, okay, let's not... I try to play it a little more fair and balanced with this, but I don't feel like it this time. They want to kill him because all the people in charge of making these decisions are terrified of him. That's the reason why. It's that simple. Let's not pretend, you can pretend this is being done in some kind of ambivalent bureaucratic, well, actually, logically, it makes sense for the staff. No, they're doing it because of what he represents. Let's not fool around with that, okay? But yeah, so the federal counts, murder using a firearm, 2 counts of stalking, and an additional firearms offense. And they also got his notebook, apparently, which contains planning, which goes back months to conduct the assassination, which makes sense. You don't conduct an assassination like that on a whim. Obviously, that was very, very pre-planned. Assuming they prove it was him. They realize killing him will make him a martyr, right? People already love him. I saw a survey recently that for people, I think it was under the age of 25, more than half of them surveyed either supported Luigi or had no opinion on him. Meaning that within the for 18 to 29, thank you, 18 to 29, you've seen the same thing. 18 to 29, within that group range, more people either support or ambivalent towards him than voted for Kamala Harris within that age range. Or to put it another way, there's a significant number of people within that group, even if you assume every single person 18 to 29 who supported Kamala Harris also supports Luigi Manion, which is not true, there would still be additional people in the 18 to 29 demographic who voted for Trump who also support Luigi Manion or are ambivalent towards him. Pretty crazy. Yeah, he's got bipartisan support with the young ones. Have you seen someone stabbed a CEO in a meeting? Yeah, I saw the headline for that, you know, in apparent copycat killing, something like that. Yeah. You got that? Thank you. It's pretty remarkable. 18 to 29. 33% thought it was completely unacceptable. 7% thought it was somewhat unacceptable, which means that a full, robust 60% of the 18 to 29 demographic are either neutral on the assassination of a CEO or find it acceptable or somewhat acceptable. Again, pretty remarkable, you know? Obviously, the older you get, the less, well, I won't say based, the less supportive of this you get. Vosh falls right outside this age range. Yeah, that's true. I fit in the less agreeable 30 to 39 demographic. It's pretty wild. What else? Well, on way to the federal arraignment, they threaded his eyebrows and gave him a shave and a haircut. You know, again, like another phenomenal move. Yeah, you know, like keep in mind, Luigi's appearance is pretty heavily tied to support for him. Obviously, he's hot. But like the New York Times editorial team saying there is no longer any value in showing his appearance. Okay, can you think for a second about how insane that is? Think of how common it is for high-profile killers or, you know, politicians, heroes, villains, whatever else, to have their faces shown because it brings in clicks or brings in, like, ratings, you know, reviews, in news publications. For the New York Times to say, no, we're not going to show his face anymore, why do you think they did that? Because they get their orders from on high, they have an ideological agenda that extends beyond just making money. Their agenda is not just raking in dollars. It is also like a class interest that extends beyond the financial interests of the company specifically. If the New York Times was interested in making as much money as possible, they would be throwing his sculpted face everywhere, all over the place. But they said not to because it makes him look sympathetic because he's beautiful. Their agenda is so obvious. Yeah, it's like watching every single Western media outlet simultaneously employ the exact same passive language when talking about Israel, you know? Like, oh, 57 civilians killed in hospital. Hospital bombing kills 57 Palestinian civilians, says Hamas. Yeah, we get it. We know. And they all do the same thing. And it's because, again, it's not just the one company with their one financial interest. There is a broader system at play, and they know who's in charge. The military-industrial complex does not want you sympathizing with Palestinians, and they do not want you sympathizing with Luigi Manion. Not even a little bit. Not even a smidge. I used to subscribe to New York Times, sorry, and when you leave, they beg you to stay and offer you a super cheap sub rate. They're not for profit anymore. Well, it's not just like whether or not they're for profit. It's think about how much money they make, the powers that be, by way of manufacturing consent. Elon has not made any money back on his Twitter purchase. He's only lost money. But because he purchased Twitter, he turned it into a propaganda machine that led to Trump's win. And since Trump's win, he's gained $200 billion. He's worth $500 billion now. News companies don't have to operate at a profit. They're utilities for the people who run them. They operate at a loss to their benefit. Yeah, he's president now. For $40 billion, he was able to buy the influence to become, you know, far wealthier than he was before. I love the spooky music. The federal charges shit is crazy, though. They are probably going to push for the death penalty. Oh, by the way, I do love this. This is crazy to me. New York City or New York Police Department police. What the the only explanation that I have for this is that people are so stupid they don't know what NYPD means. Like, what other explanation do you have for that? NYPD police? Yeah, Eric Adams. Oh, they even told the courtroom artist to make him look bad. That's really funny. I wonder if they had to tell him that, like, personally. Like, hey, make him look ugly. Because, you know, like, capitalism or whatever. Yeah, he looks like a 55-year-old man here. It's crazy. Yeah, Eric Adams was present when they gave him the walk. Is he present in this photo? He's present in one of the photos and videos. He should be somewhere in this crowd, but he might not be visible within this frame. Yeah, everyone's in there. He's right behind. Oh yeah, there he is. He's got his head poking out right behind Luigi. There you go. He's like a crescent moon. Do you think it'd be worse for CEOs if he gets the death penalty? I don't know. All I know is that they're fucking terrified. Didn't Kathy Hochul probably mispronouncing her name. I don't care about her, so I don't really care if I mispronounce her name. Didn't she literally like put in line a CEO hotline so she could give like therapy and safety to the, yeah. New York governor roasted for setting up CEO hotline for frightened executives after Luigi Manion shooting. This wasn't the only thing, too. There was like a group therapy, or like she held a meeting with a bunch of New York executives to like reassure them they want the homeless to die. I can like the crazy thing to me about this is that even if you're some kind of like stick up your ass liberal who hates Luigi because he's, I don't know, rude or whatever, how can you defend the supposed impartiality of the justice system when stuff like this is going on? Like, one man gets, people die all the time. Does that normally lead to like the entire capital class falling behind federal charges, death penalty, the mayor present for his arraignment, you know, walking behind him, CEO hotline to reassure everyone else? Like, come on. If nothing else, like, this is the strongest affirmation that I have ever seen of the classic lefty. It's a two-tiered justice system, you know? You know, there are liberals who unironically think that's not true. Like, there are people who are so hopelessly devoted to the perceived legitimacy of the system that they will actually argue, in spite of all evidence to the contrary, like all empirical evidence, that it's a two-tier justice system. They will pretend that it's like, oh no, this is just like the system's working the way that it should, you know? It's crazy. Whatever. Liberalism is a dying ideology. There will be fewer and fewer people like that every year. Yeah. You kill a mentally ill homeless man, you get to meet the next president. You kill a CEO whose decision to implement an AI software that automatically denies claims for an insurance for like your insurance company. You get like, you know, terrorism charges and perp walked and so on and so forth. You mean neoliberalism, not liberalism? No, like neoliberalism is just like the consequence of liberalism, right? Like liberalism's been on a fast track to that path for a while. It's kind of like the capitalism corporatism thing. There are ideological contradictions within liberalism that produces outcomes like this, you know? Like, liberals claim to love equality, but then they tout an economic system in which a small number of people have so, like, more power than God. Like, we are, like, in America today, Elon Musk has arguably more power and influence than almost any human being in all of history. But he's not an emperor. He's not a monarch. Somehow, without adopting any of the technical terms, any of the nobility, any of the status or titles that you would get with older systems, he has accrued more power than any of them. The King of England in 1492 had nowhere near as much power as Elon Musk does today. Not proportional to their system then, or like in an absolute sense now. And it's a direct consequence of liberalism. I mean, this is your economic system, bro. This is on you. You put it in, yeah, people warned you. We warned you about capital accumulation, dog. Keep falling down the stairs. Anyway. Good luck to Luigi, I suppose. They're throwing the book at him. Here's a look at the course of his day from dawn to dusk. Federal charges, hearings in Pennsylvania. Another drawing where they were told to make him look ugly and angry, except this time they made him look like he's 26 years old and they keep making him look 50. They make both the cops here look like soft boy doughy bears that you would see at Bear Night at a local club. And then he's like glaring little like beady dot eyes rather than, you know, with they're being told, they know, they all know. Flight to New York, after which he got escorted by the NYPD police. A few steps behind the officer were New York Mayor Eric Adams and NYPD Commissioner Jessica Tisch. We wanted to personally be here to show the symbolism of leading from the front, Adams said, standing behind Luigi Manion. Okay. What? The perp walk was a substantial departure from how federal suspects are normally processed because the parading of a suspect can be prejudicial, CNN senior justice correspondent Ivan Perez explained. Yeah, almost like they're not interested in a fair trial here. Like, yeah, almost like prejudice is kind of baked into this, you know? I like how they end it, by the way. After the hearing, Edward Kim, acting U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York, said in a statement that Mangione shot Thompson, quote, in a grossly misguided attempt to broadcast Mangione's views across the country. But this wasn't a debate, he said, it was murder. Thank you for concluding this article with a statement from the prosecutors. And what's more, like, it's such an obvious, like, cap-off statement too. Basically, we all have problems with the healthcare system, but it's not acceptable to express them in this way. This wasn't debate. This was murder. Like, it's not even a statement that speaks to the facts of the case. It's literally like looks at camera, addresses the American people. You understand what I mean when I say that, right? Like, it's like, hey, everyone, we know you all hate your healthcare providers as well, but this is not how you do it. Tut, tut. Thank you very much, CNN. Thank you very much, attorney for the Southern District of New York, Edward Kim. Very good stuff. Bad. Very special episode, Ask Journalism. Yeah. I love it when the system is frayed. I think it's super cool how over the past year, we've basically, like, we no longer live in a democracy. It's kind of true. Yeah. With what Elon Musk recently did with the bipartisan bill, the appropriations bill, the fact that, like, all media consolidated to defend Israel and now, like, consolidated again over this, like, the most blatant, unambiguous, they realized they were fucked, so they finally pulled the big funny. It does kind of feel that way. Yeah, like there was a spark and they have stamped it out so thoroughly now. Thanks to Biden, Garland, arguably Obama, Trump, like 40 dominoes of banal evil. The Democrats are pretty in on this as well. Like, it's not like the Democrats didn't aid and abet this system the entire time through continued, like, public-private partnership and also the way they handled Israel. Like, it's like the colonial boomerang all over again, right? Like, all of the dictatorial, censorious means that you use to promote your nefarious aims abroad will eventually boomerang back and be used domestically, you know?